welcome to our Morning Throners podcast. I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Glow.
And I'm Kyle.
We're the fucking Morning Throners. Alright, everybody, welcome back to your favorite Game of Thrones podcast. We are here talking Jon 4, back up on the wall, freezing our asses off, while we are in the midst of a warm winter in Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
Winter?
Summer, winter. Is
Summer,
that what
winter.
they call it? Summer, fall? Winter, summer, fall?
They say summer snow.
What?
Summer, snow? That's fine.
They have the opposite. They have like winter summers.
Winter,
We're having
summers.
what they have in like King's Landing and Dorne. We're having a summer winter.
But
anyway,
also want to give a huge shout out to Amelia
Waldman.
Waldman, who is the number one fan because she actually wrote it on YouTube. Nelson wants me to give you an apology because of how mean we were to Sansa.
So just some backstory for everyone who has not seen Amelia Waldman's comment. She gave us a comment on our Sansa 1 episode on YouTube, saying that she can relate how Sansa was as an 11-year-old girl. I went back and I re-listened to that podcast, and we were pretty harsh. I think we used the C word when describing Sansa upwards of 20 times, and looking back how she's an 11-year-old girl is kind of rough. So we'll circle back to this comment on the next Sansa chapter. It's not going to be for a little bit, but we'll give it.
But again,
we'll try to have a little opener mind with the young characters. In the
disclaimer:
book,
if you say it with a British accent, it doesn't actually. It's not a bad word. It's just your
I think we were saying it so many times in that episode, like we just stopped. We just dropped the British accent after a while to speed things up.
Oh well. What
Jeff
can you do?
definitely.
But thank you for your write-in.
Jeff
and,
led the charge.
We hope you're enjoying the podcast. Anyone else who wants to get a little shout out in this section or wants their comments talked about, just give us a little write-in. We'll talk more about her comment in the next Sansa chapter when it makes more sense. But jumping back into Jon, we're on the wall. Glow, you texted earlier while you were reading that you said you were 2 pages in, you already liked the chapter. What we got going on? Start us off.
So John's teaching, what is it, Darion?
Yeah.
Some
I
fighting
guess.
techniques and all that, and that's when big old fat Lord Samwell Tarly walks into the training area. What do you want to call that area? I don't know.
The yard, I guess.
The yard.
The yard. And everyone's like, oh my god, this guy's fat as shit. He must weigh 20 stone, I think he said.
What is the conversion rate? What's a stone?
Stone is 14 pounds, so that's
Okay.
280 pounds.
I thought it was
Sam's
12,
15.
but
So 280 is big, and Sam's 15.
It's
so
a big boy.
Big.
I like
Can't
Sam's
imagine
15 right now?
He said he got sent off on his 15th name day, so he's maybe 16. Right on his 15th name day, he woke up, and then we'll get to that later. But
they call him the Lord of Ham, and like
Lord Piggy, and
no, the
everything's
Lord of
just about
Ham,
him
I
being
think
a
was
fat
Sir
pig.
Piggy.
Sir Piggy, yeah, everything's just about him being fat. All his horrible nicknames.
I think the worst part is they didn't even have like armor for him. He's like they're like sewing patches of leather where his fucking metal armor came.
They
Yeah.
should have just dyed his armor black. I was thinking about that earlier. Like it probably
Yeah,
was
so he
custom
comes
fit.
with his own armor. He comes
That's
with his own armor,
Yeah.
and when he first walks up, Sam says like, "Oh, I'm here for training," and Pip guesses where he's from. Right? Pip's like, "Yo, he's a High Lord from the South, somewhere near Highgarden."
Pip claims he can tell wherever anyone's from.
and we find out
by
later
their
Pip's
voice.
right here though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Because
is.
Sam
Yeah,
is like
he's
is
spot on.
from Tardley's High Lord, Bannerman to Tyrell's Highgarden. So Pip was right on, but yeah, Jeff's right. They go and they have to just like. I picture just like level 1 armor in like a video game. Like you just got like a patch of metal here and then like rope to like patches of metal on your shoulders. You know, just like all bare patches because like you're just taking like scraps and just like loosely stitching together with a lot of bare spots, but which is not good for what happens to him later on because he gets just shit beat out of him. So you better hope he has the best armor you can get. But yeah, nothing good.
they had to like take his helmet apart and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Extend it a
take the
little bit.
visor off. He couldn't have a visor on.
He's too fat.
Yeah, but because like I said before, because he was a highborn, he came with his own armor. But Alistair doesn't let him use any of it because none of it's black.
I think Alistair's trying
Dye
to
black.
make an example out of him too.
Yeah, for sure. So once in the yard, the first thing that happens is Alistair sets Halder against
Halder.
Sam. Halder. And immediately Jon thinks like, oh, fuck, this is not going to be good.
Halder's fucking strong. He's gonna fuck
Yeah.
him up.
Holder is strong as fuck. So is Holder the one that used to be working a stonemason?
I think he said stonemason. Yeah.
Born in a quarry, and
Yeah.
he worked as a stonemason, so he's
Yeah.
just strong as fuck.
So
So all these guys are
16-year-old
probably
just
like
bangs a hammer all day.
yeah, all these guys are like 14, 15, 16 range. I guess like Rast and some of them are a little bit older. 'Cause
Holder
Rast-
was 16,
John
it
calls
says it
them
right
the
here.
older boys.
Yeah, Holder 16.
So it says in less than a minute, Sam was down in the dirt, like crying.
Bleeding.
Rast
His
some of
armor's all
the
fucked up.
yeah, he's all fucked up. Some of the
No, his
older
armor
boys
is
are
even-
laughing. And Alistair's like, get up, try again. And Sam just stays down. And Alistair tells Holder to hit him. And he says he hits him so hard, he splits leather with the
Yeah.
flat, but it's with the flat of the blade. But it still splits leather. What's that mean? Like snaps the armor in half?
It probably just rips. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's probably pulled so tight around his fat gullet that it just like, fucking split on impact. Too
Well, he
much
broke
pressure.
his helmet too. Then at some point.
Yeah, like he
So-
was fucking him up.
So John steps forward to grab him, like to stop stuff, and Pip
Well,
grabs
because
him. and is
Alistair
like,
keeps
Yeah,
telling him
Pip
to do
holds
it
him
again and
back.
again.
yeah, to keep going. Pip holds him back. And I got my first quote. Do we want to read it? Let's do some parts. Jeff, I have one really long quote because in the last one when I was editing, I heard you say you like the long quotes. So it's you versus Kyle on the long quotes opinion. I'm on your side. I like the long ones.
I'm ready. Where am I starting?
On your feet, Thorne repeated. Kyle, you can do narrator. I feel like you do the best narrator.
On your feet.
Thorne repeated. The fat boy struggled to rise, slipped, and fell heavily again.
Sir Piggy is starting to grasp the notion.
Sir Alistair observed.
Again.
Holder lifted the sword for another blow.
Cut us off a ham!
Rast urged, laughing. John shook off Pip's hand.
Holder, enough.
Holder looked to Sir Alistair.
The bastard speaks, and the peasants tremble.
The master at arms said in that sharp, cold voice of his.
I remind you that I am the master of arms here, Lord Snow.
Look at him, Holder.
John urged, ignoring Thorne as best as he could.
There's no honor in beating a fallen foe. He yielded.
He knelt beside the fat boy. Holder lowered his sword.
He yielded.
He echoed. Sir Alistair's onyx eyes were fixed on Jon Snow.
It would seem our bastard is in love.
He said as John helped the fat boy to his feet.
Show me your steel, Lord Snow.
That was good, except my I think I wish I'd have retaken my Rast voice, but we'll go with that.
Hello there. I want some ham.
Rast is kind of just like this is just setting it up, and I don't know if Rast was the one of the bullies in the armory chapter, probably right.
Yeah, I think so. But
Like
really,
it was Gren, right? Gren was originally. We find out Gren's
Right.
now one of John's friends, but I think Gren was the one because John broke Gren's wrist in that chapter, and then
I
Gren
thought
and some
really
other
it
people.
was Gren and Pip. Like whoever he's friends with now are the people that were really trying to bully him. Maybe Halder and Rast were a part of it as well. But
Well, yeah, I think even Halder's more friendly with him now, and it just seems like Rast, and then he says the older boys a few times, but I don't know who that means. But Rast is kind of being set up to be like the bully here,
Well, I mean, oh yeah, Rast is, yeah.
and
That's
even
what I
Halder
mean.
has like a good side because he's saying like you're right, he did yield. Like I see that, like it's like getting yelled at by coach, and like another player is like telling you, dude, stop, like that guy.
it just sounds that Halder's not very smart either. Like, all right, you banged rocks your whole life. Like it's not like he's a smart guy. Like he literally just listens.
I hope
to what
none of
people tell him to
none
do.
of our listeners are stone
Rock
workers.
bangers.
Yeah,
They-
rock
Rock
bangers.
bangers.
Literally, you give him a hammer and tell him to break up rocks.
They weren't going to school back then either.
I guess you're right. Yeah. So after this though, Alistair tells John to pull out a sword, and he sends Halder, Rast, and they say Pimple. So I guess this is another one of the older boys, right?
I
He
thought
has
that was
another name.
Pip for a second. I thought that was
Albert.
like a.
Albert. Is his
Albert.
real name. So they say Albert a few times. But yeah, it's those three versus John, and John's like,
and
"Fuck."
Sam, John and Sam.
Oh, John is supposed to be defending Sam.
I was kind of
And-
pissed.
well,
I
Sam's
kind of
supposed to
wanted.
be fighting too.
Yeah, but Sam's not going to do shit. I kind of wanted to see John take on three guys and see how he did.
Well,
Yeah.
he thinks like this is not gonna be good. I'm gonna go to bed fucked up tonight. And he even like when Pip and Grant set about to help him, he still gets like a 1 or 2 hits on him, right? Like
Yeah, that's
he
true.
talks later on in the chapter.
He got blasted in the shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah. So no one. So then, yeah. So who joins his side? Pip and Gren join his side. Pip first, then Gren, and then Alistair is like fine, and he yells like, "Why is no one attacking?" John attacks first, and he attacks Halder because I guess he is attacking the one that he thinks is the most dangerous.
Yeah.
Thing.
That'd be a
So he's
pry.
giving Gren and Pip the easier
Yeah,
guys.
I mean, he also said like he can't defend, so if I can just attack him first, he's gonna have to defend, and I'll fuck him up.
Yeah. So he says Roger taught him to know his enemy. He knows he's impatient and doesn't like defense, like Jeff just said. He gets hit in the heart in the shoulder, but he gets Halder like off his feet somehow. And I guess like if you get them off their feet in this training session, they're done, right? Because it just basically says he gets them off his feet and then it's over, and he like moves on.
Yeah, it's
Right.
nothing stopping from Halder from just getting back up.
Well,
Is that like just
or
like the rules of the yard?
if he put a sword to him or whatever, they didn't really talk about it, but maybe he mock finished him off and then went on to the next.
Well, doesn't he yield, or is that the next guy that yields?
I don't think
The
he
next
says
guy-
that.
the
The last
next
guy
guy
yields.
yields. Or yeah,
Well, he goes up to the next guy, and who is it? John. Gren's holding his ground against Pimple /
Pip-
Albert.
Pip was here. I got it right here. Gren was standing his ground as John had taught him, giving Albert more than he cared for, but Pip was hard pressed. Rast had 2 years and 40 pounds when John stepped up behind him and rang the Raper's helm with a bell. As Rast was reeling, Pip slid in under his guard, knocked him down, and leveled a blade at his throat.
Yeah.
And then Albert backed away and yielded when everybody
it was
came on.
2v1. Yeah. So Alistair's pissed, calls for the end. Daron helps up Powder. What, Kyle?
I can't take you seriously with your hair, man.
I'll go get the hat. All right. Where were we at?
So they won
You were
the
saying
fight.
Alistair was pissed.
Yeah,
Alistair was
Alistair
pissed when
stormed
they
off
won the
like,
fight.
"This is a mummer's farce is over." Meh. And he stormed off like a little bitch he is.
Mama's farce is over. Yeah, but then they all helped each other up, and
they
And-
essentially they bond with Sam a little bit
Yeah,
here.
well, and when Halder, this is what makes me think John and Halder are friends. When like Halder gets up and goes to John, he's like, "I thought I finally had you," and John's
Yeah.
like, "You almost did."
yeah, I mean, I feel like at this point they're like,
For
all
an
right,
instant,
like fuck,
you did.
let's,
Yeah, but just like
they're-
that little back and forth says that they're kind of like friends. It's not like it doesn't seem like an aggressive.
right?
thought
But I
almost
mean,
had
they've been
you.
I
here
agree
for
with
a
you
couple
here,
of
Nels.
months or so.
I don't
I'm
think
agreeing
any
too.
of them seen
At least
that
a
I'm just saying like
well.
Rast. Like I don't think he has this conversation with Rast. Like I think there's like gonna be two groups, and I think Rast is like, or at least like bullies and people that get along with John and not. And Halder seems like up to this point could be wishy washy, but I think this conversation right here is what puts him in like the John's friend side.
Agreed.
Like Pimple, we don't have anything about Pimple except he was put on the like anti-John team, but Halder was on the anti-John team, but still seems to be friends with John. I don't know. You know what I mean? It just
All
seems
right,
like they're
the big part about the next conversation is they're like, dude, Sam, like, why didn't you get up and fight? Like, why are you such a pussy?
I had that as a code too. We can read it or just talk about it. It's up to you guys.
All right,
I'll be Sam since I played the other two earlier. We need a Pip. John or Jeff, you can be Pip. Kyle be narrator, and then Gren or something if he pops in. I'll be Sam. Jeff, Chloe, you're John. Go.
Jon Snow.
I, if you want, you can call me Sam. My mother calls me Sam.
you can call him Lord Snow.
Pip said as he came up to join them.
You don't want to know what his mother calls him.
These two are Grin and Pipar.
John said.
Gren's the ugly one.
Pip said. Gren scowled. You're uglier than me. At least I don't have ears like a bat.
My thanks to all of you.
The fat boy said gravely. Why didn't you get up and fight? Gren demanded.
I wanted to, truly. I couldn't. I didn't want him to hit me anymore.
He looked at the ground.
I fear I'm a coward. My Lord Father always said so.
Gren looked thunderstruck. Even Pip had no words to say to that, and Pip had words for everything. What sort of man would proclaim himself a coward? Samuel Tarley must have read their thoughts on their faces. His eyes met John's and darted away, quick as frightened animals.
I'm sorry.
He said.
I don't mean to be like I am.
He walked heavily toward the armory. John called after him.
You were hurt.
He said.
Tomorrow, you'll do better.
Sam looked mournfully back over one shoulder.
No, I won't.
He said, blinking back tears.
I never do better.
When he was gone, Gren frowned. Nobody likes cravens, he said uncomfortably. I wish we hadn't helped him. What if they think we're Craven too?
You're too stupid to be Craven.
Pip told him. I am not, Gren said.
Yes, you are. If a bear attacked you in the woods, you'd be too stupid to run away.
I would not, Gren insisted. I'd run away faster than you.
All right, that's where I have it stopping.
I don't know. My accent probably changed. And shit.
It was like flowing in and out. It was great.
Yeah, I don't know what was
It
happening.
was ever changing accent for Gren.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think it's just funny. It shows Gren is pretty
I think it's just
stupid.
funny.
Gren is pretty stupid.
It was hard
Pip's
to get
pretty
in
clever.
and out of the voice.
We find out Sam's a total puss. Even like Sam has, not only is he a pussy, but he has no hope for himself. Like has no faith that tomorrow he's gonna do any better than he's.
I
doing
mean,
right
that's
now.
just self-awareness. Sometimes being self-aware is a good thing.
That's what Tyrion says later on in the chapter, right? John thinks about that. He says
Yeah.
like being able to admit a hard truth is better than denying it.
Yep.
But I don't know. I don't know if like being a pussy is.
I mean, not where he's at
This
now.
is this is not like something that's unfixable, like dwarfism.
I don't
or
understand,
bastardism.
and this is what I don't understand. And I guess I can wait till we bring out.
But he
Randall
does fix
Tarley
it, dude.
more. But I'll wait a little bit.
All right, so then this next part just talks about like John's life at Castle Black, like so far. 'Cause he's
This
been
one,
here for some
he goes to
time
the
now.
mess hall and Sam's sitting by himself.
Well, it says like his days are mostly the same. Like mostly in the morning he was training, in the afternoons or nights he would be doing work, and the recruits were given like all kinds of different work,
Yeah.
running messages, working in the armory, standing guard, cleaning stables, sledging arrows, assisting Mr. Amon or Bowen Marsh.
Yeah,
said
right.
his
So
favorite-
it just talks about how they have different jobs each day because they're trying to see what they can do when they become actual brothers.
Yeah, exactly. So
Um,
what's John's favorite?
He likes to go out ranging.
Out hunting.
Is it hunting or raining?
Oh, hunting.
Yeah.
So this is
Hunting,
like
and I
ranging for
have
the
to think
hunt.
it's south
I
of
think
the
they're the
wall,
same thing, right?
right? I have to think it's south of the wall.
Yeah, they're both the same thing.
What?
I would agree with you there.
What do you mean? they're
When
the
he
same
was
thing?
sent out with Ghost, ranging at his side to bring
Okay.
back home, bring back game for the Lord Commander's table. But
So
for
maybe
every
it
day
is
spent
north?
hunting. No,
I
I'm
think
just
I
saying.
thought north when they went.
So, well, Kyle, ranging is like what they call going north of the wall, just like on scouting
Okay.
trips to make sure there's no one nearby. Like keep the
Gotcha.
anyone who might be out there at bay or at distance.
Well,
So they call like send out ranging parties. Like they sent out rangings for Benjamin Stark.
Well, that was I got you now. No,
So-
I don't think that's what he's doing, but I don't know. Maybe.
I doubt they sent him at least too far north, but maybe it was north. When I first read it, I was thinking it was south. But maybe
I think they
since
went
they say
north.
ranging.
So here's a question: how do they get over the wall?
There's
They have a tunnel through
tunnel.
it.
Oh, they have a tunnel.
I'm sure that's
Yeah, at the bottom.
Is it hidden?
No, it's a big
No,
ass
not
tunnel.
really.
Big old gate.
There's a gate on the inside,
Okay.
outside, and there's a gate in the middle. I think.
Okay.
Because it's remember the wall's is 12 horses wide. Well,
Yeah.
12 like riding horses sideways wide, not like ass to mouth, but you know what I mean. So speaking of the wall, today John's
Ass to
Are you
mouth.
gonna
John's
leave that one in?
today
Are you gonna leave that
John's
one in the
today
Bible?
John's yeah I'll leave that. In.
Are
Today
we allowed to
John's
say that?
task is 4 barrels of gravel.
Is
He has
that on
to
the
pour 4
approved
barrels
list?
of gravel over top of the icy path.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were
At the
talking about
top.
that when Tyrion was there.
And he's
Yeah,
thinking
so it's
about
not
good old
slippery.
Samwell and good old Tyrion up at the top with his hurt
It's
shoulder.
especially slow today because his shoulder hurts. Yeah.
Yeah, he's thinking of Sam, thinking
Ow,
of
my
Tyrion.
shoulder.
He wondered what Tyrion would have thought of the fat boy, and kind of just like I think Jeff just said. He says most men would rather deny a hard truth than face it. Is something that Tyrion had told him, talking about like they were talking about bastard and
Dwarf.
dwarf, but John's talking about Sam being a coward, which kind of doesn't really make sense.
What do you mean?
I feel like courage is different than
Yeah, but
bastardism
still,
or
he's-
dwarfism. It's something like you
Yeah,
can't.
I mean
fix.
it still fits. And
It's still who he is. He can't
Honestly,
really fix it.
you
He's a
don't-
bitch.
like if something scares you, it's still gonna scare you. People just don't get over shit like that. I mean,
All right. I don't know. I think
maybe you could be. He's gonna become more accustomed to it, but it's still gonna. Scare
I'm not
him.
saying like, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but and we'll talk about it more later. But I'm not saying Sam becomes a hero right in this by the end of these book series. But Sam doesn't stay this bad throughout the book series. But like John doesn't become less of a bastard, and Tyrion doesn't become less of an imp. You know what I mean? It's not something that like. So it's just like admitting defeat on something that you can overcome
So,
is
Most
almost
men would rather deny a hard truth than face it. So he's facing the fact that he's a coward.
I
So
got
what is-
you,
Which
but
is
that's
kind
like,
of brave in a sense.
okay. All right. I mean, I'm just saying, like,
think about
What are
it.
you
Like
arguing?
in this world, it's like even the Cravens that would run away during a fight don't admit to it. They're at the front line saying,
I don't
"Yeah,
know,
I'm
like,
gonna
what a
fight,"
good
and
example
then
is.
they
Like,
run away.
say, like, you're like an alcoholic, and you're like, I'm an alcoholic. There's nothing I can do. I'm gonna be an alcoholic, and you just like drink because
Nobody's
you're an
saying
alcoholic.
that.
If
No,
you, if
I think it's the moment. Like if you're using that example, it's the moment when you say, "I'm an alcoholic. I have a problem." That's facing a hard truth that you
But
actually
then-
have the problem.
okay, but then if you're doing something, you'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go do something about this. I can get better. But Sam says after the training, I never get better. So that's like saying an alcoholic, but then I'm just gonna keep drinking.
But Tyrion's comment wasn't like, "Oh, just us two." It's a very overarching comment, which could fall under. You could talk about Sam. You could talk about Bran being crippled. You could talk about just somebody having a drinking problem. It could be anything.
Okay, and I guess John just does say it took a queer sort of courage to admit cowardice towards Samuel Tarly. So it's not like he's saying it's like a full thing. He's just saying it kind of takes some, like Joel Glow is saying, there's a weird sort of bravery behind it,
Yeah.
admitting you're a coward. All right, we can go on. I just thought it was kind of different, but okay.
Disagree. Hard to
So
disagree.
after
Disagree
he
from everyone
spreads gravel on the top of the wall, he goes down and he goes
Yep.
into the mess hall. Food's about to be served and
It's
all
dinner
that. So
time.
Pip's having a jolly old time telling all his stories, acting out in different voices for the kings and ladies and all that. And
Yeah.
I forget the eunuchs he makes sound like Alistair Thorne, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Or he makes Alistair sound like a eunuch when he tells Alistair and Preston's or something like that. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's the other way. But yeah,
Other way around. Okay.
And John sees Sam sitting all by himself like a loner he is right now.
Yep.
And he goes over and talks to him. And he's like, "Yo, dude."
and he doesn't even talk to him. He takes him outside.
He's like, "Yo,
Well, he
let's-
sits with them at first.
Let's go
for a
talk
second.
outside." Yeah,
Yeah, he sits with him.
sits
He sits
down
with
and
him.
he's like, "Yo,
Sam
let's
is
go talk
surprised.
outside."
Sam is surprised by Ghost, but like surprisingly okay with him. I thought for a second. And Sam and John uses that to lead into saying like, "Oh, that's a sigil of my father's house." Sam says, "Mine's the Striding Huntsman."
Do you like to hunt?
And then Sam's about to cry. So that's when John says, "Okay, let's go outside."
You know, for as much of a craven he is, he's not afraid of the wolf that bad.
Yeah, I thought it was surprising. And there's another part in a second that I think is surprising, like about that. Like he licks his face and it makes him laugh instead of like freak out, which is what I thought. But the next line is like, as they're going outside, John's like, "Have you seen the wall?" And Sam's like, "I'm fat, not blind."
Yeah. He's like, it's fucking huge.
It's like it's
man.
700 feet tall. Of course, I saw it.
Of course I saw it, yeah.
So they go out and Sam says, like, "I didn't expect it to be like this. It's so fucking cold." Sam says he hates the cold. John's like, "It must have been a lot warmer where you came from." And Sam admits it. The first time he saw snow was just like a month ago, and he thought it was beautiful at first, but he like quickly grew to dislike it.
He's like, John's like, "Dude, is there anything you won't bitch about?"
Yeah. He says, "Is there anything you're not afraid of? I don't understand. If you're so craven, why are you here? So why is Sam here?"
Kyle?
Why is he there?
Yeah. What's
Oh,
the first
because-
part he says? He gets into like the detail of like his actual moment of leaving later, but at first like
Does he even say anything? Yeah, so he doesn't even answer him at first until John tells his dream.
Yeah, John
yeah,
starts
so well,
talking
he
about
starts
his...
to cry and then Ghost comes up and licks him in the face. This is what I was just talking about. And Ghost is like, these guys are 14, 15. It says at one point, like, it says something at one point. Oh, right here. If he licks him in the face, Ghost is as tall standing as they are. Right? They're not sitting. They're
Well,
standing.
no, he crouched down. No, he crouched down and
Oh, I
started
guess he
crying.
crouched
Or he
down.
said he
Yeah.
sat down or something.
Still, Ghost is pretty big, and he comes up and licks Sam's face, and Sam starts laughing. Isn't that weird? Like, Sam's a huge pussy, and a
don't think that's
wolf
weird.
just licked his face.
I don't
Jeff,
think
you
it's
would cry if a wolf licked your face.
I would...
Yeah, but it's not like it's a
Love
fucking
it.
wild wolf. It's like a dog. He's just a
It's his
big
pet.
dog.
Yeah, I don't know.
He just met it 10 minutes ago.
And he
I mean,
wasn't
I'd be
afraid of
comfortable
it when it
doing
was just
that.
walking with him. Why would he be afraid of it now?
All right.
I mean,
He
maybe at
trusts
first maybe at first he'd be like, "Oh my god, this wolf's gonna eat me," but oh no, it's just looking at my face like, haha, that tickles.
Well, we probably didn't even notice it at first because he was crying with his eyes closed like a little bitch he is.
Well,
All right. Well, so
he's
next part of
sentimental
Sam's
for a fat
is John's.
15-year-old that gets sent away from his family.
You're true. You're right. You're right.
All right. Next part is John's dream. I have it as a quote. You guys want to read it or just talk about it?
Just talk about it.
All right. So he says sometimes he dreams about it. Jeff, go ahead. What's the dream about?
He dreams that he's back in Winterfell, but it's pretty empty, right?
He's like
but,
running
Super
around.
empty.
100%.
Some
100%
like
empty.
skeletons.
and he's trying to like find people, and I guess different times it's different people.
Yeah, exactly. He said
But
most
he
of the
can never
time
really
it's his
find
dad,
him.
but sometimes Rob or his little sister. Yeah, or
And-
Benjen, which is weird because like why would Benjen be there
Yeah,
anyway?
but
yeah,
so he
sometimes
keeps running
Benjen-
around.
Well, it doesn't say he's
Because
looking
Benjen's
for him. He
missing.
just thinks of him.
No, it says
Uh,
looking down the long empty halls.
I don't even know who
It
I'm
just
looking
says
My
the
voice
for. I
acts
next
as
the
though
next
my
line is
father.
like he thinks about Benjen and he gets
No.
sad
It
about
says I
No,
don't
no.
know who I'm looking for. Most nights it's my father, but sometimes Rob.
Grow up, guys. Let me give my summary.
That's
So
all
he-
Benjen Stark
He
sad
continues to run around, and he ends up at the door of the crypt, which he knows he shouldn't go into. Maybe because it's kind of scary, but more so I think because he's not actually a Stark, he's a Snow. So, but something's calling him down there, so he starts to go down the stairs, and he's running by the graves with the Stark people and their direwolves at their side, and the swords across their legs. And that's kind of it, right? It's just
See, that's it. He never gets down there. Like he always wakes up before he gets down. It gets
He's,
darker
like, in
and
the
darker.
stairwell,
As
Well,
it's
yeah.
getting darker and darker.
Yeah.
He didn't
He
have
says
a
he like
torch.
wakes up and just like hugs Ghost until he goes back to sleep.
yeah.
And John asks if he dreams of Horn Hill, but before we get to that, in the middle of that, they talk when he says he sometimes thinks about Benjen. They give us an update on Benjen. He says his uncle is still missing. The old bear has sent out rangers in search of him. Jeremy Riker had let out 2 different sweeps, and Corn Halfan had gone forth from the Shadow Tower, which is the tower to the west. The east one is east, watched by the sea. Shadow Tower is about the furthest one to the west. So they sent
By
out
the
somebody from there
mountains.
looking. They found nothing besides a few blazes in the trees his uncle had left to mark their way, but they abruptly stopped in the highlands to the northwest. So that's just the latest update on Benjen Stark that was kind of in the middle of that dream passage, so given the update. But yeah, he asked if Sam ever dreams of Horn Hill, and what's he say about Horn Hill, Kyle?
He hates it.
He
He's
hates
like, ever since I was little, like I was supposed to be my dad's son, like his heir to the throne, like he's well off, but he's like, I'm not into that shit. And he's like,
So they're old. I don't know if it says exactly how old, but I think they're like a couple hundred years old.
500 years.
Their sword is 500 years, right?
Yeah.
So they're at least probably that long. They're not the head of that area, right? So there's the 7 kingdoms. The Starks are the head of the north. They're not the head of their area, but they're bannermen to it. So secondary
Yeah.
house,
Tyrell's
They're
run that
definitely
shit.
2 House Tyrell, but they're definitely well off. They have this legendary sword called Heartsbane, and yeah,
Two-handed
Sam's the heir.
greatsword.
But his dad and him do not.
Well, he's like, I'm not trying to fight. I'm not trying to do any of that shit. I'm trying to eat and cook.
Eat,
Listen to
sing.
music, read.
Soft
read.
clothes.
Not
Trying to wear some
slaughter
velvet.
chickens. He cries at the sight of that.
Yeah, he doesn't like slaughtering chickens.
So, like,
he grew really
doesn't-
fat and unathletic.
Dozen mastered arms came, and none of them could do anything. They had like people trying to put spells on him, like bathe in the
Like,
blood of
Bathed
this.
in blood. One time he had to
Auroch.
sleep in like chainmail and like wear his like
Yeah.
mom's clothes to the training yard to like humiliate him, like all this kind
Yeah,
of stuff.
they
to
tried
make him-
everything, and he didn't. He just didn't want to be brave. And
Which
then
I guess goes
so-
contrary to what I was saying earlier, but
Yeah.
yeah,
So then his mom finally had another son. And then
After
his
three
dad
after
was
girls.
3
like-
girls.
Yeah, 3 girls. Yeah.
I don't know right off the bat like their age difference. What do you guys think here?
Sam and Dickon.
Irish twins.
Sam
What?
and Dickon.
Yeah.
Probably 5 years apart.
5
Nah,
years?
I'm saying it sounds like they had given Sam a lot of time to become the heir that they wanted.
That's what I'm thinking too. But then also Dickon or
They
is his
try to
name
pop out
Dickon
as
or
many
Rickon?
babies as
Rickon.
possible.
I don't. Whatever his
Dickon.
name is.
Stick on.
Dickon. He has to be like old enough that the dad's like confident, like okay, this one's good before he sends off Sam.
Yeah,
You know
I'm
what
gonna
I mean?
say
So he can't be
Dickon's like a.
too young.
I'm saying Dickon's
Does
like a
he?
5-year-old or so.
Does he though?
5.
I'm
He
thinking
he
he's
puts
like
all his
8
eggs
or
in the
9.
basket at 5.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
yeah. I
thinking
mean,
like
he's
9.
definitely a kid. He's young.
If Sam's 15, he's 8 or 9 at the.
That's what I'm saying.
Early.
bro.
All right, let's
So-
say he's Brand's. Let's just say he's Brand's age.
Hang on.
Say
I
fuck
think
it.
he's 10.
I think he's 8.
Hang on, Kyle, go.
So like, if he had 12 12 Masters at Arms, right?
Okay.
How long do you think that took?
So that's
Could have
I was
taken a
thinking about
year.
this
It could have
too.
taken 4.
Exactly, because you can basically just like name a different knight in your service, a master at arm, every like week, and be like, "Oh, this doesn't work," and then next one a week, and then the next one a week. Or you could be like, "I'm gonna import this guy who I've heard about, who's supposed to be like really good with this thing," which is probably more what he was doing. So
how old do you think he was
Sounds
when
like
he
it
started
was-
doing that?
I bet you he just switched around for the first like 5 or 6, then imported the last 6. So maybe like
No, what I'm saying is
like
how
5
old
years.
do you think he
It's
was when
probably
he
like
was doing that?
7.
Probably like 5 or 6 when he started doing that.
And then 3 girls in 3 years. So I mean, at least 3 years, probably, right?
I think that could be after Sam. So I think that just means he's at least 5 when Dickon's born.
But why would they keep trying to have another kid until they realized he was shitty?
Because that's what you do in the Middle Ages, you just have kids.
Yeah, you just pop them out.
Fair
That's
enough.
all women are good for. Back then is
No.
what I was saying.
Even that's risky to say,
Not
Jeff.
gonna be
All
happy
right,
about
Jeff. All right, we know how you are now, Jeff.
You want me to
was
cut
her-
that
what was
one
her
out,
name?
Jeffrey?
What was her name?
I'm
Nelson?
not gonna defend myself. All our viewers know what I was saying. That was the norm.
Right after we apologize to Amelia, you're going to go ahead and say that in this very episode.
Back in the Middle Ages, what else are they doing?
Kyle,
They're
what
giving
were you
babies. It
saying?
was literally
Well,
an
no, I was just
occupation for
saying, so,
girls
I
just
mean-
to give their tits for other babies to
Is-
suck on. Come on.
Yeah, whatever. It's not even important.
I guess that's true. You have nothing to add, Kyle?
No.
All right, let's keep going. What were we saying? Oh, so 3 in 3 years. I think that only makes him like 8. And then maybe
Okay.
9,
He's
10 by
5.
the time Dickon's born. So yeah,
He's
that only
5.
makes him like 5, which is kind of crazy.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
No, I'm thinking Samwell's 5 when Dickon's born.
That's what I'm thinking too, but like what Kyle's saying is it doesn't make sense based on what they're saying.
How? 3 and 3.
If they have 3 years and then like Sam's 5 by the because Sam's has to be like 5 by the time they start training him. Then you have to bring in 12 Master at Arms, and assuming you're bringing in like decent people who aren't just like appointing the next
Anyway,
fuck face on the.
it doesn't. It honestly,
doesn't
I don't
really
think
matter.
it really matters.
Yeah.
So, anyway, on his
I
15th
digress.
birthday, his dad like called him outside, right, and was like,
So
skinning
you're
a
almost
deer,
a man now.
like elbow deep in this bloody mess of a deer, right, and like skinning the hell out of this thing.
In this deer's asshole.
And he's
I'll
pretty
read
much like,
I'll read this little section. 3 men at arms had escorted him into the wood near Horn Hill, where his father was skinning a deer. You are almost a man grown now, and my heir. Lord Randall Tarley had told his eldest son, his long knife laying bare the carcass as he spoke. You have given me no cause to disown you, but neither will I allow you to inherit the land and title that should be Dickon's. Hart Spade must go to a man strong enough to wield her, and you are not worthy to touch her hilt. So I've decided that you shall this day announce that you want to take the black, and will forsake all claim to your brother's inheritance and start north before evenfall. If you do not, then on the morrow we shall have a hunt, and somewhere in these woods your horse will stumble, and you will be thrown from your saddle to die. Or so I will tell your mother. She has a woman's heart, and finds it in her to cherish even you, and I have no wish to cause her pain. Please do not imagine that it will truly be that easy, should you think to defy me. Nothing would please me more than to hunt you down like the pig you are. His arms were red to the elbow as he laid the skinning knife aside. So there is your choice. The night's watch? He said. He reached inside the deer, ripped out its heart, and held it in his fist, red and dripping. Or this. So that's how Sam made his decision
Poor
to go to
Samwell.
the wall.
This is where I don't get it, because I mean, unless Rand, I mean,
Is
I
that
don't
how it
think
goes in the
Randall-
show? Do you guys remember? Is that what happens in the show?
I don't know if they
never
go
saw
into
it.
that much detail, but pretty much.
Yeah,
pretty much
similar.
so. Like, there's another option for Sam. He doesn't have to go to the wall.
He can be a maester.
Why not? Yeah. Like, they know he likes to read. They know he's fucking worthless.
Send
with
him to
the
Old
sword.
Town, dog.
I mean, that must be the thing. Like, the South really just thinks the black is a waste, and they're like, all right, fucking go up there. Like, get away from me.
Like you
Um,
think like Randall Tarley just wants to like send him to the black because that's even more disrespectful than being a maester.
It's
and he
just
thinks Sam doesn't
disrespectful.
even
Like,
deserve that?
you're just a waste. Like, go literally as far away from me as you can, and get the fuck out of here. Because I mean, just sending him to the Citadel makes too much sense, I guess.
Seems
I
like,
like
a
how
win-win
he's like, I don't hate you enough to disown you, but I hate
Well,
you
he's-
enough that
I
I would
He's
not
like
have a hard
about
time
to kill
killing
him
you.
though.
That
Yeah.
part,
Yeah.
the whole part, like I wouldn't disown you, made me think like, oh, he doesn't actually hate him. He just isn't what he wanted. That's what I thought at first. But the part where it says,
Yeah, he's
nothing
like,
would
"Oh,
please me more than to hunt
yeah.
you down makes me disagree. I think the disown you part just says like, you haven't really done anything wrong, and he's like, I feel bad that you haven't done anything wrong. So there's no reason for me to do this, but you force my hand here. I think that's kind of what he's saying. You give me no cause to disown you, but I can't allow you to inherit this land that shouldn't be to somebody going this week. I think
Here's
that's what
the
he's
third
saying.
option.
He's like, I still hate you, but
Third option is being a maester.
No, the third option could, well, I guess the fourth option then could just be, why doesn't he just say, all right, well, he can have everything,
yeah, just
but I get to stay here.
Because
Yeah.
because
Like, I don't
bloodlines
care.
are always an issue. Because he always
because
has the
then
rightful
he
claim.
potentially
Yeah.
has a
He could
claim.
always take it back and say, no,
Okay.
it's
he has a
actually
kid
mine.
or something. Yeah, that makes sense. That's what
Fair enough. And he can't have a kid there. Can maesters not have kids?
No.
I don't think so.
yeah, I don't think so.
They can make him a eunuch, too. Why don't they?
Yeah.
do that?
Because he didn't do any crime.
I
That's
don't-
kinda fucked up.
That's
Cutting
not
your
part of
own-
the territory. But
Fucking
so
cutting your own kid's dick
what's the
off,
weird
that's
part
fucked up.
about not only the story but
It's
like
just
how
the
Sam
balls.
tells the story?
He's like,
says
it's no big deal. Like,
He
this
said
is
as
just...
John says told the story as if it happened to somebody else,
Wait,
not even him.
He's had 15 years of this. He's so detached from it, probably, that...
What do you mean 15 years ago? He's like 15
He's
Yeah,
had
now.
15
15
years.
year-
That's what I'm saying. He
he
had
has
15
15
years of
years
being a
of
fucking
abuse.
disappointment to his dad. He knows that he is.
Oh.
Like, this isn't a surprise to him. So he's, like, detached and he's coping with it in this...
Okay.
So then afterwards, John's like, let's go back to the hall and hang out with the dudes. And Sam's like, they're going to beat my ass again tomorrow, aren't they? John's like, yep.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
not wrong.
Well, it's funny.
It's
Another
yeah.
quick joke I'll stick in here. He says Darren sings, and Maester Aemon says that his voice is like honey poured over thunder.
Grand
Toad
is like
also
piss poured
sings.
over a fart.
Toad's voice is
Uh-huh.
like piss poured over a fart. Yeah, that's what Pip says. Just another quick Pip joke stick in there.
Pip
so yeah,
sounds like
then
he's
what
a
Glow
good
said.
guy.
He's worried about having to fight, so decides not to go. And John goes back to the hall and sets everyone straight.
Yeah, John basically tells everyone, keep your fucking hands off Samuel Tarley.
Yeah,
Mr. Rast
fuck
is
you
like,
up.
Just like barely tap him and just like defend his blows, but like don't actually like fuck him up like it happened today. And everyone he gets everyone to eventually agree except Rast, but then he visits Rast with
with
Pip
Gran,
and Granny
Pip,
Ghost.
and Ghosty.
And Ghost just fucking hops on him, and Rast just shits himself.
And like bites him like right here,
I
right?
love
Like
how
right under
all
the
they
chin.
say to him is, we know
We
where
know
you
where
sleep.
Just like
Yeah,
the biggest
like-
cliche ever, right? Like
Yeah.
we know where you live, we know where you sleep.
But they woke him up to say that.
How is
because
it-
he's almost
Dude,
gone.
how scared would you be, dude, if a wolf was
That's what I'm
standing there?
saying.
Like,
And then Rast,
"Yo, all right."
Rast uses the excuse that he just cut himself shaving.
Yeah, that's what he
Yeah.
tells everyone the next day. But yeah, from that point on, no one ever hurt Sam in the yard anymore. They were all good. And he says like after a few days, John convinced Sam to come sit with them, and after a
Nelson's
few weeks,
favorite
Sam was
line.
like listening to jokes and stuff. What?
No, I'm just saying. Keep
He
going.
got him to come sit with him. Then like a couple weeks later, he was telling
We're
jokes and
not
everything.
friends. We're brothers. Is that what it's...
Yep. Nelson cries when he reads this.
I don't have that. Oh, I
What?
have the. I don't have the quote. I just have it says here. Yeah.
I don't know
yeah,
what you did, he
eventually-
said, but I know you
brothers.
did it. He looked away shyly. I've never had a friend before.
And then John says they're brothers. They aren't friends. They're brothers. And then John says that he thinks what Benjen said was true, and he wondered if he'd ever get to see Benjen again. So I went back and I was wondering what he was talking about. So I was looking through all the Ben
His uncle said
and
that.
John
right?
conversations. Yeah, and it was weird because it wasn't. He never like said it. John thinks about a conversation they had where he said it. So it's
Benjamin
kinda hard to
says,
find.
says they
Benjen
become his
definitely-
brothers.
Yeah,
I
Benjen-
found it. I found it.
Oh.
It's in.
I found it
grow
too,
up.
in my mind. I remember.
It's
grow
in
up,
John
yeah.
3. It says Benjen Stark frowned. Yeah, I think he was asking him to go ranging with him. John was. Boy you are, and boil your reign until Sir Alistair says you are fit to be a man of the Night's Watch. If you thought your Stark blood would win you easy favors, you are wrong. We put aside our old families when we swear our vows. Your father will always have a place in my heart, but these are my brothers now. That's the only thing that Benjamin says in any of their conversations with John about like Brotherhood
So,
in the Night's Watch. Yeah.
well, it's definitely that.
So yeah, pretty cool. I don't know.
Pretty neat,
cool
pretty
throwback.
cool.
Nelson cries.
Good for Sam.
Nelson cried.
Good chapter. Kyle, thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was a good chapter. I mean, so
What
you
do you
kind
know?
of said
So
it. I was gonna say you said it earlier, but like I do know people like Sam.
yeah. So hold
Like,
on, real
there's a
quick. Quick
positive
warning
reception
for
on him.
anyone who has wants no spoilers at all. I'm gonna ask Kyle what he knows about Sam, and he has any spoilers he may have heard just through the grapevine. So you know nothing except for people like him.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know that whether or not he dies or lives, but I do know he lives at least a couple seasons of the show.
Okay.
So, I mean, I know he's got some arc here, but
That's
I
good
don't know
that
other
you
than
don't
that.
know shit about him.
What do you think of him
Yeah,
so far?
that's cool. That's cool.
I mean, you feel bad for the guy, obviously. He's had a pretty shit draw in life here where he's not living up to what he's supposed to or what he's expected to.
Also, I don't
And
know
he's a
what
bitch.
predictions you made at the end of the last John. The last John, he was not friends with Gren. Like he had just had like a big confrontation with Gren in the armory, and I don't know if you predicted they would become friends or not. But
at the end of it, he was like, "Hey, I'll show you how to defend it tomorrow." So
yeah, but we don't see what comes of that. We see like Alistair
Yeah.
says something dicky, I think, and then John finally like says something nice to Gren. But yeah, we see they're finally friends. John has some pals, and he even thinks like at the end there. I think maybe it was right before the part you read or right after the part you read, Jeff, about him saying brothers to Sam. He thinks about like Rob and Rickon and Bran and says like they'll always be my brothers, but like these are my brothers now. Like Benjamin was right. So yeah, he's got some pals. John's not all alone.
Yep.
If you got nothing else, Kyle will let you go and we'll jump into
I
the
got
spoiler
nothing.
section.
we
Already
got a
been running
lot
pretty
to talk
long
about
already.
in the spoiler one.
See you later, Kyle.
Really?
It was nice
That's
hanging
great.
out with you, bud.
Bye,
Good
Kyle.
morning to you, Kyle. See you next time.
Later, nerds.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! All right,
See
Kyle,
you later, Kyle. Great hanging out with you, bud.
Bye-bye,
and now on to
Kyle.
the spoiler section of John 4. Guys, what are your hot takes on this? Actually, I'm going to go first. John, my favorite character. He's a pack leader. He shows it throughout the whole freaking chapter.
Just because he's nice to Sam.
He's a natural pack leader. No, Pip and Gren follow him. Halder's starting to follow him. He like tells him something. Halder stops beating fucking Sam's ass. He's like,
Yeah, he's a natural leader. He's just not scared to be he's not a pussy. He doesn't care what people think. He just say his mind and whatnot.
He's
and
tough.
he knows when to nip the other members of the pack. You know, like Rast. Just like
Yeah, he's not afraid to stand up to Rast for sure, even though he's older. So, real quick, I want to cover something before I forget it. The thing you guys said about the Maesters.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a serious question, or do you guys not remember? They talk about that later.
I don't remember.
What are you talking about?
His dad says that he would never, like Sam had asked to be a Maester instead of going to the Night's Watch. They think we cover this in the dance. But instead, his dad said that like he would never have his son wear chains and be like in service. And that's even more like he thinks that brings shame to the family name to have you like be someone who serves and wears
So
chains.
he thought the black was more honorable.
I guess.
Yeah, what the fuck is that bullshit?
I don't know. It might have been more what you said, like I just want you out of my face, like definitely get you out of here forever. But that's Sam says that later. Yeah. So I just wanted to bring that up now.
I have absolutely nothing else.
Jeff,
I was
what
gonna
else do you
say.
got?
The dream.
I mean, I'm
barely had
sure
anything.
Nelson's gonna go off on the dream. He's got to have something on the dream. He read somebody's something about
Well, there's
the dream.
more on. Again, most of the stuff I'm going to talk about as we get to there. Like this is just like showing the dream later. Like as John dreams, he has this dream throughout the books, and as he dreams it every time, he gets like more and more. So as we see like more and more, we'll talk about it. But I think Jeff at this point, Jeff hit on everything in the normal chapter. Like the darkness is, and like how he doesn't want to go down there is just kind of like symbolizing how maybe he's not a Stark.
But what's he afraid of? So he's not afraid of the old Starks and stone crypts, but
I think by the
it
end
says he's
of-
afraid of something else, but it doesn't say what.
I think by the end of the Dance of Dragon books, and again, this is a reoccurring John dream. I think he gets like a little bit further every time he has it, or every time he talks about it to somebody. And I think by the end of Dance of Dragons, we get to the point where he gets to Lyanna's statue, and then that's it. So a lot of people think there's going to be something in Lyanna's statue that lets John realize his parentage and that Lyanna's his mom, and Rhaegar's dad, right? Like he thinks that people think that's how Jon's gonna figure it out, or someone's gonna figure it out and tell Jon.
What if Rob
Brown.
Baratheon actually banged Lyanna and he's a Baratheon?
That'd be dope. But I'm pretty sure he never banged her.
He would be bigger too.
Yeah, we would think he'd look more like him.
I mean,
I still think Benjen
he's got
Stark
dark
banged her,
hair.
and that's why he looks double Stark. Benjen Stark and Lyanna Stark, incest baby Jon.
I don't believe that. That's extra guy.
It's a little tinfoil theory. Nelson tinfoil. I don't think that either. I think he's in a Ned and Ashara or Brandon and Ashara baby. But again, this points against it. This whole dream about the crypts and Lyanna's thing being down there is against it. But people think this dream relates to Lyanna's crypt. We'll keep an eye out for it. But
Could
in
be
this one,
Brandon's crypt.
huh?
Oh, no, never mind.
Well, again, kind of what Jeff was saying. The Lyanna crypt thing. It holds up to what Jeff was saying too. He doesn't feel like he belongs on there because he's not a Stark. Even the Lyanna crypt, he still wouldn't be a Stark. He'd be a Targaryen, right? Or Sand at the very least if they didn't get married because he'd be born in Dorne, right? So either Jon Sand or something like that, and probably a different name. And people think there's a secret like buried with Lyanna or something that Jon or somebody will find in real life. But Jon's dream is leading him there, and then that's what's going to make him go there and find it in real life or whatever. But again, in this one, nothing except for kind of what Jeff said. He feels uncomfortable because it's a place for the Starks, and he's not a Stark. Maybe Targaryen, maybe Snow.
Yeah. Glow, nothing about Ghost in this chapter?
There was nothing really about him. He was red eyes, fucking.
I think Ghost and Sam have a big connection.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a connection there, but
It's
nothing's
ridiculous. It's ridiculous
But
how
why?
Sam's afraid of everything and he's not afraid of Ghost. The part where Sam's in the top of the wall spreading
John's on
gravel, Jon's on top of the wall spreading gravel, and he thinks of Tyrion and thinks of Sam. Like I said before, that doesn't make sense. Like that logic, that reasoning doesn't make sense. And when you think about later when Jon
I disagree.
sends,
I do think the logic makes sense.
think about when Jon sends Sam off later, and he sends him with Maester Aemon on the ship. He forbids him to be a coward, or to think of himself as a coward. Right.
Okay.
So Jon knows what Jon thinks here is exactly opposite Jon's actions by doing that. Here,
Well,
Jon's like,
I mean,
oh, he's
you
brave
just
because
know-
he admits it. I should just let him admit it, and then that's a brave.
That's not what
Jon
that's
is
not what
actively-
Jon said. It just said that he's very self-aware.
Yeah, it's a queer courage, not a real courage. You know
Yeah,
what
and
I
I
mean?
keep pointing back to the thing where Sam says, "I never change," and Jon doesn't have any problem with that here, and he just says, like, "Oh, he's brave for accepting it." He's like, "I can't do anything, and I never change," and Jon says, "He's brave for accepting that." And I don't know, and I it's just because you think that Jon would have the exact same thought as everyone else. That Sam's a coward, we should stay away from him. I don't need that. I already have my own struggles here on the wall. Except Jon has this weird backwards logic because of what Tyrion said that makes him befriend Sam.
So are
and
you
Ghost
trying to
is
say
with
that?
him when he has this logic.
So you're
I
saying
think Ghost has
Ghost
an
is, like,
influence.
Kicking
Well,
in
also,
Ghost is kind of twisting his mind around to make this work, and so that Jon
Well,
has
what
a
if it's
reason to
just
go
a
talk
three-eyed
to
one
him.
other
raven?
small thing too. He says earlier he thinks clear when he's on the top of the wall, and a lot of people think that the wall stops magic from coming in or something like that, don't they?
Well, again, there's some other.
So when you're on top of the wall, it's not blocking it.
Well, there's some other things throughout this book, and I'll touch on them every time. This one is I see where you're coming from, Jeff. How this one could definitely be Jon was thinking it, and it kind of makes sense based on what Tyrion was saying. But after I think if I tell you enough little pieces of evidence like this with Ghost, eventually some of them there'll be too many to have them all be coincidences. Is what my argument at the end of the book is going to be for you guys. Is that like, okay, just hear me out, listen for it. I get maybe this one isn't the case, but after enough, it's like, wow, really was Ghost just happened to be there when Jon had this weird thought, and he just happened to crest the hill when Jon had the thought to tell Maester Aemon to have Sam graduate with their class. That's coming up in like 2 chapters.
So are you saying? Hold on for a second. Is you saying that Ghost is like manipulating Jon, or the
Yes.
three-eyed raven is manipulating Ghost to Jon?
Probably both. Yeah, probably that.
Okay. Well, I mean that's a little bit different.
That's
huge
that's
difference.
betraying John's trust of Ghost. I don't believe it.
Because
Ghost would never do that.
One of the big ones that I think is big. So one of the Jeff always makes fun of me for watching my videos, and he did earlier in this one. One of the videos I watched recently was on Ghost and how Ghost. If you think about all the times Ghost just happens to be around Jon, and like it like specifically makes him around Jon when Jon has these kind of weird decisions, right? Ghost is gone for like half of a book when John comes back over the wall. John gets offered to be Lord of Winterfell by Stannis. Literally, he says it's the only thing the biggest thing he's ever wanted in his entire life. How many times in these books that being Lord of Winterfell is the only thing he's ever wanted, but he knew he never would. Stannis gives him that offer, and he's like considering it. Ghost comes back, and he immediately decides to say no, thinking that Sir Alistair is about to be elected Lord Commander and he's going to be beheaded. Sir Alistair said if he becomes Lord Commander, he's going to behead John. John doesn't even know he's running for Lord Commander. He decides to not be Lord of Winterfell, to stay and be beheaded when Ghost gets back. It's just like a bunch of weird stuff like that. When it adds up, Ghost is having a ton of influence. When they go to say their vows, what does Ghost do?
He elects Sean's face.
No. They come back with something from when him and Sam go to say their vows to the Heart Tree. They bring back dead bodies. Ghost finds a hand, and then that helps them find 2 dead bodies. The 2 whites.
Yeah.
Ghost finds them. I'm pretty sure they go off with dogs, John and Ghost. Without Ghost, they don't find those bodies. Those bodies is what makes them go ranging to the Fist of the First Men, where everyone dies, where everything happens. If Ghost doesn't say John goes but doesn't have Ghost, and goes to say his vows, no, they never find those dogs. They go back. No one ever finds the whites. They never go on a great ranging with 300, 400 of the.
That's
Ghost
true.
does everything.
They never learn about the whites.
When they go to the Fist of the First Men, Ghost finds the dragon glass. He finds a weapon.
But he's also a direwolf who has super senses, dude.
Hear me out. Ghost finds a weapon, an ancient weapon that was from a long ass time ago in a rotted Night's Watch cloak, but freshly buried.
Yeah,
a weapon that
smells.
A weapon that they don't even know what it.
Night's Watchman.
A weapon that they don't even know what it does because it's so old that Sam, like less than a month later, has the need for. Oh, Ghost just happens to find these dragon glass daggers right before the White Walker's coming. Oh, maybe Bloodraven knows the White Walkers are coming, and and I'll talk about this later. Maybe even Bloodraven knew the White Walkers were coming, and that's why he wants the Night's Watch to go on the Great Ranging, so that they'll encounter the others and know that they're a real thing. Maybe the Three-Eyed Raven wanted that. That's why he has Ghost discover the bodies. First off, Glow, tell me how those bodies get there. And again, we'll talk about some of this later, but tell me how those bodies get there.
They definitely get there by the White Walkers being bad.
Why would the White...
They want to know what's going on at the walls. They want to scout ahead, see how much is going on there.
I'll ask Jeff. How do those bodies that Ghost finds, and we'll talk about it more later, how does those bodies that Ghost finds get there? They're 2 dead Night Watch bodies from Benjen Stark's ranging.
The White Walkers are sending them a message.
I think the White Walkers are trying to recon,
dude.
Trying to get a feeling of what's going on at the wall.
Well, hold on. If the White Walkers are sending them a message, why does they put them, like, kind of near the Weirwood tree? Like, not in front of the Weirwood tree where the Night's Watch definitely go, but, like, kind of off into the woods where Ghost finds, but no dogs or other Night's Watchmen would find. If you're sending a message, you put the body right on the tree. Right?
I mean, maybe, yeah.
If you're Bloodraven and you want the Night's Watch to be like, yo, this is a fucking real threat.
Well, maybe the
and you have a connection with Ghost, and you know Ghost is about to be in this area, right? You know John's about to swear his vows because you know the fucking Night's Watch work. You know John's about to be in this area with Ghost. You put bodies there, and then maybe even warg into Ghost to go find them, right? How else did those bodies get there? Why are they like kind of near the tree but not really near the tree? You know what I mean? There's so many weird things with Ghost that if you think about like, oh, Ghost found this, that's cool. But when you think about, no, George R. R. Martin doesn't just put bodies in a coincidentally close place. Like, everything is placed somewhere. You know what I mean? There's a meaning for everything.
Why would Bloodraven place the bodies there, though?
Because so the theory that I saw, and I'll give you guys the really quick lowdown of it.
That doesn't exist.
The Bloodraven wants the Night's Watch to find those bodies so that they go on the long ranging, so that they think there's a threat, so then they go to look for it. They go to look for it, or they go to look for the wildlings with Mance Rayder, right? When they go, they stop at every village and find out that they're fleeing from something. Mance is gathering people to flee from something. That's what Craster tells them. They go to the Fist of the First Men. There's another video that the same guy made that says that the Three-Eyed Raven influenced that he influenced them to stop at the Fist of the First Men through Mormont's Raven, and I'll talk about that one later when it happens. But say he goes there, Ghost finds the dragon glass, right? So he makes a few plays with Ghost. Triggers Ghost to find the bodies. That triggers that triggers the long ranging. He influences him where to stop. That tells him where to stop. If he's able to influence him where to stop, he's able to send someone like Cold Hands out to bury the dragon glass weapons, right? So that when they're there, again, like he did with the bodies, he can have Ghost go find this and give it to him. He says that the reason he wanted him to stop at the Fist of the First Men, because you can do that with dragon glass weapons anywhere. The reason he wanted the Fist of the First Men is because, and Curran Halfan says it later, if the wildlings are coming south to the wall along this river, they have to go past the Fist of the First Men. And they can't sneak past because then they risk the Night's Watch attacking them from behind. And while this is true of the wildlings, it holds true for the others. And the Three-Eyed Raven would know the others are coming through because Gilly's pregnant. So they're coming through to grab a baby, and the Night's Watch are positioned right in their line. And even if they don't want to attack them, they can't go to Craster's past them because they know the Night's Watch are about to come back through Craster's. So the Three-Eyed Raven, potentially with only a few moves controlling Ghost, sets up a Three-Eyed Raven and positions the Night's Watch. And maybe he doesn't do it because he wants to hurt them, but he wants them to realize this is a real threat. That's why he gives them the Dragon Glass daggers, and then he gives them the threat that Sam doesn't even know what the dagger does. The only reason that he uses it is because in the mutiny,
They break his sword, right?
he loses his sword when he's sending ravens when all the whites attack, and then he loses his dagger when they're walking through the snow. So it's just like the only weapon he has. That's the only reason he uses it. You know what I mean?
Sam
and
the
again,
Slayer.
it's hard to say it's all coincidence, but then it's also hard to say like it is really, or it's hard to say that it's all like pulling strings, but it's also hard to say it's really, it's like it's all coincidence, and these bodies just happen to be close enough that Ghost would find them, but no dogs would. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. The dragon glass daggers happen to be super ancient and in a rotted cloak, but really recently buried.
I mean, I do think it's weird that, through Ghost, through everything, like the Three-Eyed Raven, I guess it makes sense when you say he wants them to think it's a real threat. It's just goofy. Like, why would you just want people to die? Like, there's got to be a different way to send the message where half of the Night's Watch dies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to send such a huge group, maybe. Well, that way the whole... I mean, maybe you have to get the whole fucking Night's Watch to believe it. That way they can maybe get someone else to start believing it and start sending people up, like Stannis does, kind of.
I mean, I feel like the Night's
does
Watch
it for the wildlings, not for the others, but still.
Yeah, I feel like the Night's Watch believes in the others though. Like they know that they're out there. At least the older guys.
Some of them do, not the
weird
younger
shit
ones.
goes on.
What do you guys think of that main general theory I just said? And I wasn't as short as I'd like to, but it's kind of complicated, right?
I mean,
But
it
you
makes
get the-
sense
you
that
get
he's
the
trying
gist?
to influence some shit, so maybe, possibly. And
I just don't understand why
Ghost
he's willing to
does
put
have
so
the
many
colors
Night's
of Blood
Watch people to
Raven,
die.
so he should be working through them.
What'd you say? I heard you glow. What'd you say, Jeff?
I just don't understand why the Three-Eyed Raven's so willing to kill off so many Night's Watchmen so that they get the message.
Well, again, if his main goal is just get the Night's Watchman to send a ranging out to a spot where I can hide this dragon glass, and a spot where they'll have the ability to use it and find out what it's good for. That's what he needs. He needs them to find the dragon glass, but he can't put the dragon glass at the Weirwood Grove because, first off, I'm pretty sure in the books, dragon glass doesn't kill the whites. We only know it kills others because of Sam, right? So he needs them to find the weapons and then also get attacked by an other. So to get attacked by
it's
another,
gonna
you gotta
kill
put him
another,
near the
though,
babies.
What is
You
the
gotta-
other?
The
Aren't they
other's
the
a
same
White
thing?
Walker.
The White Walkers.
A white is a dead person brought back to life. An other/White Walker is the monster.
Tall and lean and skin pale as milk glass or something like that.
And armor that...
I mean, you would think if it kills
Shimmers.
the other, it would kill the white thing that made it.
But
Doesn't
I don't
make
think
much
it does.
sense.
I think we know. I think in the books we know it doesn't. Like somebody.
What?
I think we. For some
It's just-
reason,
I don't
we
think
know
it's
it doesn't.
confirmed.
Or I think Sam reads it doesn't, or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. Just I think that's that main theory is things I'm gonna keep an eye out for. And anytime, I think Sam. So Sam is obviously a major part of that, right? Sam's the one who discovers the use of the weapon. So I think Ghost has some influence on Sam too. Everyone here at the Night's Watch except John immediately is like, I want nothing to do with Sam. Even Gren says like we do not want to associate with him. It's bad news. But because of this reasoning that he has when he's with Ghost on top of the wall, he's like, okay, Sam's okay. I'll be with him. And then Sam is not afraid of Ghost when he's afraid of everything, but he's not afraid of this huge direwolf. And Ghost licks his face. Sam doesn't cry. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I mean, I think it's a thing, like, yeah, Ghost is huge and he's a wolf. Sam's been around dogs probably his whole life. Like, they got the fucking kennels at...
Yeah, but this is a wolf.
I feel like it's not that crazy of a thing for him not to be scared of.
At the same time, he threatens Rast, and Rast shits his pants.
Yeah, but Ghost is actually fucking gnawing at his throat.
And Rast, I think, is eventually the one who leads the conspiracy to kill Mormont. That's whoever it is has a ton of boils, but I don't know if it's Rast or not.
Could be painful.
I don't remember. But
all right, that's all I got on this one, guys. How about you?
Jeff,
yeah,
that's all I got.
I was just throwing a bluff at Kyle, saying we had a lot to talk about. I just thought we were going to talk about the dream. I thought you were going to have more, but I didn't remember that.
Well,
John keeps having the dream.
So again, you guys know that I'm in the Daenerys is the Lyanna Rhaegar baby.
No way.
This is a big thing that the guys and most people at this point camp the Arpa Seligos J turn to. That John is going to have a realization that Lyanna's his mom in the crypts. There's going to be something buried with her. I don't know. That's what people think. That's what this dream goes towards. Again, this dream is one of the ones that I think is a reoccurring dream that we get a little bit more and more and more each time. So we'll talk about it again. But at this point, I think it's kind of what you're saying.
That makes me think that it's a three-eyed raven dream because he does the same thing with Bran.
I can see that. But somehow, like, John keeps, like, kicking him out of his head because he, like, is having a negative reaction to the dream. That's why he keeps waking up.
Yeah, maybe.
Because he says it gets dark until he's about to scream, and that's when he always wakes up.
Yeah, or Three-Eyed Raven just wants John to think more. Like, oh my god, why am I still having this dream? Why did I get a little bit more? What's going on? Is this actually something? I don't know.
But John just kicks it out.
Yes, I mean, we'll talk about it when he starts getting further in it, but at this point, I think it's just pointing out the thing that Jeff said. He's not a real Stark, right? And the Arpa Cell equals J theory backs that up. He's not. My theory potentially wouldn't but he would still be a Snow because Ned would still be, or Brandon would be married to Catelyn and not married to Ashara, so he'd be a Snow, not a Stark. So either way, it kind of fits. But yeah, the Arpa Cell equals J people are big behind for this stream, but we'll talk about it more when we get more pieces of it. So John's story starts getting weirder now, though. Like Ghost starts having the video that I was watching was pointing out more of the weird Ghost interactions from this point forward. Some weird because this is when they're about to graduate, right? John recommends Sam be in a elevated graduating class, so he doesn't have to be alone. I don't know. Things about to kick off in the John, not kick off, but speed up a little bit in the John storyline. We got our introductions out of the way.
Is there anything that happens with Halder that we know about, or?
I haven't. When I've read, I've never really taken notes or anything and tracked the characters enough to know more than Pip and Gren. Daron, I think, is the one that goes with Sam because he's the singer.
Yeah,
so
he
I
is.
think he's the one that eventually goes to.
Oh, is that the one Arya kills?
Arya kills eventually. Yeah. So next chapter.
Spoiler.
We get
That's a big old spoiler.
Well, spoiler. We get a lot of Ed chapters coming up. It's like Ed, Catelyn, Ed, Tyrion, Ed.
Just because he's about to die, they had to fit him in there.
Yeah.
He gets his fair share in this book for sure. And I think he's going to start having some promise me, Ned, dreams.
Promise me, won't you?
All right, well, we won't drag this out any further. Oh, no, we had Sansa in 2 more chapters, so we can talk about Amelia's comment in a few more chapters. So, yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. If you feel free to like and subscribe. Give us a write-in. Tweet us on Twitter. Still no one has claimed that $5. Amelia, if you're finally reaching this podcast, because you made that comment a couple weeks ago, but that was back at podcast 16. When you get here, Amelia, tweet at me. Then leave $5. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Woo! Wait, the $5 is still out there? Come on.
Correct.
See you later, boys.
See you later.
Hey, girls.